so don't comment.
Buenas tardes, gente. Buenas tardes, sí, buenas tardes, porque hoy tenemos un invitado especial a la tarde. Hoy cambiamos el horario nocturno. Sí. Mario y yo no dormimos la siesta, pero estamos con invitado de lujo.
Sí, señor, no dormimos la siesta y vamos a estarla pasando muy bien durante este fin de semana, porque tenemos un protagonista de cómic muy, muy esperado.
Así que bueno, gente, antes que nada, disculpen las molestias ocasionadas por la diferencia horaria y todo eso, pero dejen su like, participen en el chat, pregunten, es una oportunidad de un millón, dejen su like, suscríbanse, hagan lo que puedan. Así que, sin más rodeos, voy a presentar y voy a hablar ahora en inglés. Vamos a empezar a hablar en inglés con Mario. Así que vamos a empezar la entrevista con nuestro invitado. I would like to introduce one of the few artists that I love, that his artwork gives hope when you see it. His artwork, it's so awesome that when you saw, or when you see and a drawing did by him, you feel hope. I'm talking about the one and only Doc Shanner.
Hi.
Hi, you. Mr. Shanner. How are you?
I'm good. That was very kind of you. Thank you.
It's what we feel.
Thank you
it's
for
what we
coming
feel. Your art style is so classic, so heartful. It feels so heartful. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to ask you, why.
You know what?
Yeah, Mario. First, sorry.
Sorry. I want to say that when I saw your art, especially on Shazam, it's like if I read 1940s, because the drawing is so classic, so it's powerful. It's really powerful, that drawing, and I love that Shazam. So when the only figure that I have in mind when I saw Shazam is yours, and Wiz Comics, of course.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I love that character, and I loved working on that book specifically. So thank you.
Now I'm gonna ask you something that, if you want, you can answer it. If you don't, don't. But
sure.
Why the nickname Doc?
Oh, I'm not a doctor. It's a nickname I picked up in school through music.
Whoa.
When I used to, before I got my art degree, I was a musician.
Oh.
And the folks I ran around with, they called me Doc for reasons I can't even remember. And I just kind of ran with it, and I kept it for Twitter and what have you. And it worked. Also, people get my first name wrong all the time. It gets misspelled a lot and mispronounced.
Is it Ivan or it's Evan?
No, it's Evan.
It's Evan.
Evan.
But it gets spelled even a lot. EVEN.
Even.
And just said, and even that, half the time I get Ian or Owen a lot. So it's just, for whatever reason, people struggle with my actual name.
You mentioned right now that you start and you have a degree on music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you, what kind of music do you listen to when you draw your characters? You have a specific band for some characters. So each character has a different band.
It depends. It depends on which part of the drawing I'm working on. Oftentimes, when I'm just starting with layouts, I'll listen to a lot of movie music, just soundtracks, scores, just anything without words, because that can get distracting for me. But my training is in jazz, so I'll listen to a lot of jazz.
Oh.
But that's, I mean, even then, I tend to watch a lot of TV while I work too, so it's not always music.
So,
Okay.
so how you jump from the music to art school?
That's I
Or
got
why?
to.
Or why?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I got to school thinking I would do music, and I very quickly realized that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in a practice room. And I love playing. I loved it then, and I still do love playing, but I didn't want it to be my entire life. I found the more that it became my job, the less I liked it and enjoyed playing. So it wasn't a direct line. I didn't stop music and go straight to art. It was I stopped focusing on music and just kind of wasted time for a year or two in college. Yeah, and then eventually I found my way to art and drawing.
Were you a drummer?
No, I played trumpet.
Trumpet.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that you were like Whiplash. The movie were like, yeah.
It can be like that, yeah.
Is it hard? Is it that hard?
I think it's. My wife and I talk about this a lot because I met her in music school, but I think a lot of people get to music school thinking it's going to be a lot easier than it is. So it's as hard, I think, as anything can be, especially in the arts. I think art, dance, music, theater, I think they're all equally difficult. But I think a lot of people show up to music thinking it's going to be like high school, like it's not a big deal. Like they can kind of get by, and it's harder than that.
Yeah, it's something that most people doesn't understand, and I think that that also happens with art school. Most people think it's something easy, and I have a friend in Cuba school, and he says it's not that easy. It's something that you have to study. First of all, you have to study. Most people think that you got there and you had to draw, but you had to study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you went to art school in Michigan, where you were born.
Yes. Yep. I still live there now, but I went to school up north in Michigan.
And
who were your teachers? From any famous artist or?
Oh no, not really. I went to a relatively small, about a medium-sized school up here. It's Central Michigan University. Not necessarily one of the bigger Michigan schools, but it's medium-sized. And I had a lot of great teachers, but nobody that I think anybody knows.
Mr. Shanner, and how did you jump up into the comic industry? How do you got into the comic industry? After you were in art school, you finished art school, then jump into the comic industry. How was it?
That was while I was still in school, I worked at the school newspaper, drawing the cartoons for the newspaper. And when I got out of school, I thought I would keep doing that, working in newspapers. And very quickly saw that there were no jobs in newspapers. And I kind of just fell into comics. I knew enough about drawing them to kind of feel my way around it. And I knew I had met a few people while I was in school to kind of make connections. But I think it was still probably 2 or 3 years out of school before I finally had any kind of comics job to speak of.
What was your first shot in the industry?
It was the I think it was my first job was the one at Oni Press, the Jam Tales from the World of Roller Derby, of all things. Yep, that one.
Good one.
That roller derby book was my first job. Yeah.
And then you went to Dark Horse, doing some of these DC Presents Dark Horse that were anthologies.
Yeah. Yep. And there was some time in between those two. I did the roller derby book, and then I didn't do anything for a little while. I don't remember exactly how long there was in between, but it was another year or so before I did Dark Horse Presents. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got the chance to do this one shot, Blood Brothers. Then that was this. It was an opportunity for you.
Yeah. Yep. It was my first real series job, where I did a successive story.
And how did you take it when Dark Horse gave you this opportunity?
It was a great opportunity. I had, like I said, I had spent a year or so up until then not doing much of anything. I think at the time I was doing commissions here and there for folks and picking up little odd jobs here and there, but not really doing comics work, and definitely not steady work. So it was a great opportunity, and it was my editor on Dark Horse Presents that hired me for Blood Brothers, Jim Gibbons, who was a great guy and was awesome to work with.
Doc, in that time, in that period, you were on Dark Horse. What was the main title, and if you wanted to be on it, on that main title?
Meaning, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
In that time, in your period when you started and doing Blood Brothers, which was the main title from the company in Dark Horse?
I'm not sure actually.
Hellboy, might be.
Yeah, it might be. I don't remember. It's been. I think Blood Brothers was in 2013. It maybe even earlier than that. I'm not sure. I don't remember what year that was.
Earlier,
but,
I think it's earlier. Huh?
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I don't remember. I I've forgotten so much of that time period already.
And the other question, if you wanted to join into to that kind of stuff, but
yeah, it was at the time when I didn't think at the time that I would ever end up doing anything for Marvel or DC. I didn't think that the way I drew fit anything that Marvel and DC were doing. So I just assumed I'd be at Dark Horse. Not that they're all great publishers. But I thought I would kind of hang out at Dark Horse for a while. And I think at one point I had talked to them about doing some Conan. That I would have had a great time with that. I can't remember what else they had at the time, but
they had the Alien, Predator. They have
They had
those
I think
two.
they had
no.
Yeah, they did have Star Wars. Yeah,
Star
back
Wars.
then they still had Star Wars.
Yeah.
That and Solomon Kane and
Solomon Kane, right?
I can't remember some of them, but there was a lot of stuff that Dark Horse had at the time that I would have loved to do, but it just didn't pan out.
And then you had the chance to work on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
You worked on this that you got the chance to work with one of the legendary comic book writers and artists that is Matt Wagner.
Yeah.
And
that was great.
And how do you work with him doing this sequence? Because if I remember, you drew the flashback sequences.
Yep.
So how do you work with Matt Wagner and get along with him?
I didn't at the time didn't have a ton of contact with him, unfortunately. I did the editor, Nate Cosby, was who I worked with at Dark Horse on Dark Horse Presents, and he hired me to do the flashback for that Green Hornet story. And it was a very fast job. I didn't do a ton for it, and I had to do it very quickly. So I didn't have a ton of contact with everybody else, unfortunately.
You know something, Doc? Here in Argentina, first was Batman, and then the Green Hornet TV series is nowadays is very popular here.
Mm-hmm.
Because all about with Kato and everything, but we still love Green Hornet. Really love
That's awesome.
Hornet. Yeah,
that's great. I love the character. He's a lot of fun.
And also for pulp fans and for fans like us that watched the movie starred by who, Mario?
The movie was started with
there we you worked with Flash on Flash Gordon.
Yep.
This is awesome. This is something that
I love it.
I discovered before the interview, doing some research, and I want to buy it now. I want to buy it now.
We're gonna buy it now.
How do you get into Flash Gordon after this?
It was Nate Cosby again, who I worked with on Dark Horse Presents and Green Hornet. He was editing for Dynamite at the time, and they wanted to do a brand new launch with the King Features characters like Flash and Mandrake the Magician and the Phantom.
Oh yes,
And
Guardians of the Galaxy. Galaxy
Defenders.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
Defenders.
The Defenders.
Yep.
Defenders.
Yep, they wanted to relaunch the Defenders, and he had asked me if I'd be interested in doing the Flash Gordon solo book, which I was excited. I love Flash Gordon, and I'd known Jeff Parker, who wrote it. I'd known Jeff for a long time, and was eager to have a chance to work with Jeff. So I jumped at it, and it was a great time. It's one of my favorite books I've ever done.
One of the things that I asked when I saw the book, you have a classic style that fits perfectly to the pulp books, and one of the things that I wondered, it was, why didn't you use Sam Jones look for the character?
It's they wanted to. I think the mission with this launch was to very much pull from the original comic strips, from the original newspaper stuff. But even though I didn't have Flash looking much like Sam Jones, we tried to pull a bunch of stuff from the movie, because Jeff and I are both big fans of the movie, and still are. That movie's amazing.
And why did you put? Do you wanted to put Timothy Dalton as Prince Barry in there?
Yeah, that's as soon when I knew that Prince Baron was going to show up, I said to Jeff, I said, he's going to be Timothy Dalton, but he's going to be a bald Timothy Dalton.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
it's awesome that you get a lot of character designs, and we love to see that. Here we have the character design for Flash Gordon, and it looks amazing. In fact,
this is Dr.
Flash
Sarkov,
Gordon,
right? That's Dr.
yeah,
Sarkov?
yep. Flash, Dale, and Dr. Zarkov. Yep.
Did you have any inspiration for Flash suit in Tom Strong?
Oh yeah, that's in there. Jeff and I actually came up with the design of the shirt together. I have a folder full of designs that I didn't use for Flash Gordon, and it's all black and red and white, or black and red and yellow. But Jeff actually came up with the two lightning bolts meeting in the middle in that kind of triangular shape. But yeah, no, I'll absolutely cop to some Tom Strong influence. I love Tom Strong. So
I can imagine that the lightning bolts were for those people that always got confused with Flash and Flash Gordon. So
yes,
it was like a meta message.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Flash. It has two linings.
I'm not the fastest man alive, but I have.
Yeah.
Then
you took the inspiration. I think. Sorry, I think you took inspiration to the drawings that they show at the movie in the credit scenes, when there are some shots from the original drawings.
It's
fencing with Bing and everything like that.
Yeah, that's when I got the job, I went out and bought, because I had read them before, but I went and bought as many of the books of the original Alex Raymond Flash Gordon strips as I could, because I love that stuff. And I wanted our book to kind of to echo that spirit of the original strips.
Here I have a question that it's interesting that says that he didn't know about Flash Gordon, and if do you still like your work from those times?
Yeah, it's
What are you talking about, man? It's awesome, his work.
It's awesome. Come on.
Are you watching the show? Are you watching what I'm showing? It's awesome.
I do. It's. I can tell where I was still learning about storytelling and drawing and design. But no, it's like I said, it's still one of my favorite things I've ever been a part of. Flash Gordon. It doesn't mean I like every single thing about it, but overall, I'm still very happy with that work.
You
Here's
think that
another one.
you think maybe you wanted to do another character like Mandrake or the Phantom or
We
another
took after
character?
shortly after Jeff and I finished Flash Gordon, I think they relaunched again so they could add in Prince Valiant and Jungle Jim. And I did the character designs for Jungle Jim. And I for a very short time, I was talking about maybe doing Prince Valiant. And that would have been fun, but it didn't come together, and I got busy with something else. But no, I love a lot of those old pulp characters, like the Shadow and
I have one
Doc
more
Savage.
specific. I want to see one more specific, and Kyle will join me in this. What about Dick Tracy?
Oh yeah, I love Dick Tracy. Yeah, for sure.
I love Tracy's stories.
But
I love the villains in Dick Tracy are incredible. They're amazing.
here's a question that says from Geek Boy says your style has a lot of what was the gold silver era of the comics. Would you say that is your way of drawing, or is there inspiration from other artists?
I think it's both. I think early on, when I first started drawing comic books, I think there was I was influenced by a lot of older books. That's what I had around, and that's what I liked buying at the time. But I think it's also just because I came from newspapers. The style I worked in back then was very simple and very open. And I think that just kind of naturally lent itself to that style of drawing. It's changed over the years since, certainly, but I still reference a lot of the older stuff. So I think it's both.
Yeah. And then after this, we got this. Another hit straight to our heart. We love Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah.
we love Johnny Quest. We love the Phantom. And how do you and also with Jeff Parker.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how you two got involved into this?
That was actually Jeff and I had been working together for a while, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do next. We had actually, in that time, we had pitched a Etrigan book. It just didn't come together at the time. And when after we pitched that Etrigan thing, Darwin Cook and Dan DiDio had reached out to Jeff, and this was just at the beginning of Dan trying to relaunch the Hanna-Barbera properties in the comics. Dan DiDio was and is a huge Hanna-Barbera fan, and felt very strongly about them. So he called me on the phone shortly after, and he was just going on and on about it. He was very, very excited about all our stuff with Future Quest and the Flintstones and the Wacky Racers stuff. He loved those properties. Yeah, and Tor and just anybody Hanna-Barbera, he loved that stuff. Yeah, Darwin Cook reached out to Jeff. I think Dan had originally wanted Darwin to kind of shepherd those books, but what we didn't know at the time was that Darwin, his health was not doing so great. He didn't tell us that, but he said to Dan that he wanted Jeff and I to take it. So I never had any direct contact with Darwin, but it was very much also Darwin's baby, as much as Jeff and me.
Yes, I love Darwin Cook's art. It's lovely. With Kyle, we love everything he did, especially Justice League New Frontier. It's an amazing job, But
Yeah.
now I'm looking about the Future Quest. I love it because you took that thing of Darwin, and it's amazing. And I want to ask you about that because here in Argentina, Cartoon Network start broadcasting here in early 90s. So they gave us all that stuff, all that cartoons, Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, the Flintstones. The Flintstones was much early, but Jetstones and everything about the Hanna-Barbera universe, and we love that stuff. Now, when Kyle showed me these drawings, I said, "Oh my God, I couldn't have the opportunity to read all this stuff because I love it." Here he has a huge fandom too, the Hanna-Barbera universe.
That's great. I think we must be about the same age then, because I that's how I watched those cartoons, was in the early 90s on Cartoon Network. That's how I first came across Johnny Quest and Space Ghost and all of those. So yeah, it's similar.
Birdman.
Yeah, and also,
Birdman.
Birdman. And then he had his talk show. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast was amazing. What a show!
Yeah.
What a show!
It's Space Over. Wow. In Future Quest, there was a book about the Phantom that was drawn by Ariel Olivetti, an Argentinian artist. he was part of this, and he also drew the Phantom miniseries with the Alex Ross covers in the past, the sixth
Uh-huh.
issue.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm
He was
familiar.
part of it. He was part of it.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
That Space Ghost. It's amazing.
So that. Some pages.
Hmm.
There's Birdman.
What about drawing drawing Birdman, but also drawing Race Bannon. Race Bannon is a great action character from Johnny
Yes.
Quest. I really love that character.
That's the thing. It was such a big cast of characters, but I had such a good time drawing all of them. But Birdman and Race and Tor, or my Tor,
My
and
Johnny, Haji.
yep, and Johnny and Haji, and that was the best time.
Yeah, I always see Hachi as the always reminds me to Indiana Jones and Riders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
with the guy that works with him. It's amazing. This, when I saw this was coming out, it was awesome to read it. It was awesome to watch the art coming. It was like it got out from the cartoon. It was awesome.
Thank you.
We really love it, especially this kind of style you have from this classic style, similar as you said to Darwin's, and
Mhm.
it's amazing. It's amazing. We love this stuff. We love this stuff.
Don't
Thank you.
I don't remember the name of the characters with the big ears. I don't remember the group.
Uh,
I well,
now I can't remember either. It was one of the Galaxy Trio. I can't remember what his name
Yeah.
was. No, I want to say Meteor Man, but I don't even know that that's right. Anyway,
sorry.
whatever.
no. Sorry.
So
Well,
last month, I think, or 2 months ago, here in Argentina, it was published by Omnipress, Gotham by Gaslight,
Mm-hmm.
and we had one of the first taste of your work with Shazam, with this time from Convergence that got into the book. So, do you remember what was working on this? Because it was an event that, if I remember, if I if I remember, it was an event that was done because of the moving of DC offices from Burbank from New York to
from New York
Burbank,
to Burbank.
Yeah.
and how you got to this stuff.
It was you're right. That was during the period where they were moving across the country. And it's funny. I had done a 1-issue digital Superman book for DC. That was my first DC job. And
Adventures of Superman.
yes. Yeah. Yep.
The 12th issue anthology.
Yeah. Yep. And
Oh, you start with a low character, low point.
Right. but it's I had done that book, and then I think a year or so later, there was talk of the Convergence event, and the assistant editor, who is now my editor on the new Shazam book, she had remembered the Superman book and said we should get this guy to do the Shazam tie-in for Convergence. So they had also been talking to Jeff about writing it, but they hadn't told both of us at the same time. So for a while there, Jeff and I were talking, and we're like, "You're never gonna guess what my next job is," and we're both saying it to each other until we slowly started putting the pieces together, and we're like, "Wait a minute, are you doing Shazam too?" And that's when we realized. But along with Flash Gordon, I have very good memories of working on Shazam.
You played a lot here with a lot of characters, because I don't know if Jeff is a fan of the character, but you you guys put all the characters you can in the book, and it was amazing. It was one of the few Convergence tie-in that I really like it, and I was happy that it was put with the Gotham by Gaslight graphic novel,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
of the tie-in there with the crossover with the Gotham by Gaslight. It was incredible.
Yeah,
Mario?
I want to ask you a question about Shazam, and what do you think about the movie?
I have yet to see the entire movie.
Oh.
I I have two kids and not a lot of time for movies. I try to see what I can, but I don't have a ton of time, and I just haven't gotten. I've seen parts. I've seen clips on YouTube, and especially when I was getting ready for the new Shazam book, I was watching a lot of stuff with Mary. But I have yet to see the entire movie as one piece yet. So it looks good from what I've seen. But
And for this, did you read another Shazam books as a reference?
mhm.
Which one?
I am a huge fan of the Ordway, Peter Krause, run. That's my. Again, I think we're of similar age, where that was. I remember that book as a kid, being around. But I've got here. I can't remember which way to go, but this.
Yeah,
right
I
here.
see the cover, the number one.
It's this whole thing. This whole bucket's full of Power of Shazam. So.
Oh,
Those covers were an eye candy, man.
They were gorgeous. Yeah.
you know, Doug, the Power of Shazam is going to be released here in Argentina. I think it's for the first time, Kyle.
Yeah,
Power of
for the
Shazam
first time.
here in Argentina?
For the first time in
For the
in
first
Spa-
time,
Wow.
Spanish.
That's awesome.
the graphic
That's
novel.
great.
Yes. I think in mid 2022 or early 2023.
Because I think we just got the collection here, not too long ago.
Now, here they're gonna publish the graphic novel, the first that they launch the ongoing.
Yeah.
The ongoing series was never published here. I got the
Really?
series, but in English. I got the complete series in English, but
Here's not
Huh.
published.
it's not. You gotta realize that here is not a famous character. It was famous for
Sure.
the movie, but the as I always say the most known character is Batman because Batman sells.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other one is Superman because we still love him. I know that sales are less than Batman's books, but here in
Batman
Argentina it's
sells.
Batman.
Yeah. It's you
So
can't beat Batman.
You can beat Batman.
but you can
Yeah.
beat Batman. But it's
Yep.
Batman, Superman, and nowadays I think Green Lantern here in Argentina, Green Lantern.
Huh.
So nowadays it's the we have more audiences. So thank
Hmm.
God they're publishing a lot of things and a lot of classic material.
Return
Good.
to return to Shazam. Uh, I found a lot of character designs that loved this is what I love of the character designs, that it's how
I love
the artist or how you played with the expressions, and it was
it.
a reminder to Kevin Maguire's. It was like those
Yeah.
expressions, doing this, doing that, with the mouth, and
Mm-hmm.
these are a few.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
You practice stuff. It's more like the actual Shazam.
Yeah. That one was done later as a I think in 2016. And I didn't have anything going on at the time, and I had written Dan about the possibility of doing something with Shazam, and trying to fit into the new 52 model a little bit, but kind of doing my own thing still. So that's what that was from. Yeah.
Do you like the hood?
I don't mind it as much as other people. It's not. I don't think it's what I would do. It's and with the new book, that was one of the first things to go was the hood. But I think the hood can be used, but it's not necessarily my first choice.
And here are some pages from the book that they are amazing. Look at this. Look at this
Oh,
with Sivana over there
Mm-hmm.
and Billy Batson speaking about Shazam. Captain Marvel.
Black
I
Adam
go
there.
sorry, but for me it's Captain Marvel. It's not Shazam. It's
Yeah,
That's
Captain
Captain
okay.
Marvel.
Marvel.
It's
That's all
Captain
right.
Marvel. And this page looks amazing. Do you work on digital directly or you work on a mixture?
Now I work digitally, all digital. But at the time when I was working on this book, it was traditional.
Oh,
I've got those pages around here somewhere. But I think it was near the end of Future Quest when I went all digital.
okay.
Mhm.
That was because of the deadlines to make it quicker,
It was
or
it was a lot of things. It was deadlines. It was having giant stacks of paper all over the place. Um, I've still got a pile of pages like that high, and that's only a few years worth
oh,
of books. So it was paper, it was deadlines, it was I think I'm able to get closer to what I see in my head with digital.
yeah.
Um, it was just a ton of things at the time.
And you have a little chance to experience some things, to experience uh, different poses and different take on the same pages and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
And the expressions
It's easier.
are different.
It's easier. And it's
Mhm.
it's glorious. This is glorious. This is for a for a picture on the wall. You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Put it in here
You can put it on the
in a
wall.
room. Hang in the wall.
And now that you mention Mr. Janner, Mr. Janner, with writer Josie Campbell, is gonna
Mhm.
launch a book on 2022 called The New Champion of Shazam.
Mhm.
It's a 4-issue miniseries starring this girl.
Yep.
What
Yep.
can you tell us about this? This was I gotta tell you, this was like the biggest stunt DC did with Captain Marvel in in Marvel and Captain Marvel in DC. They have a
You have
they
two
have a
Captain
girl
Marvel.
Captain Marvel. We have a girl Captain Marvel. And there's also a huge stand here because there was this series, the Trials of Shazam, that Shazam passes the powers to CMJ,
Mhm.
and
Mary Marvel.
he- Mary Marvel never got a chance, never
Yep.
got the chance till now.
Yep.
What can
Yep.
you tell us about this, Doc?
This was after I did that 2-issue Shazam book with Jeff years ago. I had figured that was it for me in Shazam. As you mentioned, we put everything we could into that book because we thought that we wouldn't ever get to do that again. And especially a classic Captain Marvel book like that, we just didn't see that happening again anytime soon. So when that was over, I thought I was done with Shazam, and I just assumed that was it for me in Shazam. But I always said that Mary should be the lead character for a little while, and that if they can find a way to make Mary the main champion of Shazam, I would be there right away. And this was near the end of Strange Adventures. The editor, Brittany Holthair, wrote me and said that she was putting together this Mary book, and she'd originally asked me for a cover, and I said, "Well, how about you let me draw the whole thing?" Because I got so excited about the idea. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so happy to be working on this character again. Because I love her.
Did you begin working on it?
Yep. I'm in issue 1. So
Okay. What can you tell us about?
it's all about Mary is going to college. She's leaving the foster home that she grew up in with Freddie and Pedro and Eugene and Darla, and she's going to college. Billy is nowhere to be seen. And without giving too much away, she is called upon to say the magic word. And it's really a lot of fun. It puts the focus all on her, which I can't remember the last time it's been just about Mary. There's been plenty of books where Mary's there, but so is Freddie, or it's always Billy and Mary, or Mary and somebody, and so on and so on. This is all about Mary.
We can say there's something about Mary.
Exactly. Exactly.
Ah!
You nailed it. You nailed it, Mario.
Doug, I want to ask you a question about this run you're going to do with Mary.
Mhm.
You're going to create new villains, new characters. What about that?
Yes. I won't say too much about who and what they are, but we will have some new villains for Mary, as well as some familiar ones. The great thing I like about our story is Josie, the writer. She's great at looking in the older stuff and seeing what we can get out of those. And, like looking into the original Fawcett material and seeing like what is in there, like what characters can we pull out of there and what names can we pull out of there and reuse for new characters. So we're trying to bring a little of the old with some new, and I think it's a great place for Mary to be.
Yeah, it was an awesome idea for the character and a great opportunity to showcase the character because, as I told you before, she never had a chance. She never had a
Mm-mm.
chance, and this is her spotlight, no?
Yeah. Yep.
And we love
Wow.
the suit design. It's incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's
It's
lovely. It's lovely.
it's classic, but at the same time, you can see the Captain Marvel dudes there.
You know, Kyle, that suit is marvelous.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was
Oh,
a fun challenge to channel a bit of Captain Marvel into Mary. So
Yeah,
yeah.
We as you said, we read Captain Marvel as Billy Batson. I read Captain Marvel as CMJ, and
mhm.
now to have the chance to read this, it's a great opportunity, and I think it's something cool and fresh for new readers to jump in.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's
And
gonna be fun.
we're right to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is something
Everything.
I don't have
Speechless.
words to speak
Nothing. Yeah.
what you did here with Tonkin and Mitch Gerards.
Mhm.
You did an amazing team here because the sequences here mix it in a way that we never seen before. That in fact, in some books you got this sequence where you draw a page and the next page, because you're not living with the other artist, it's besides the page. Here you had some incredible character design from from Alan Strange.
Mhm.
You know something.
Uh,
We have a character. We have character here in Argentina called Mysteries. It's
Okay.
very. It's kind of Adam Strange, the
Oh.
costume and everything like that.
Huh.
But he's not a.
I wasn't familiar. Yeah.
So, Doc, what I wanted to ask you was uh, how was working with Tonkin and Mitch, and how were their scripts? getting to you?
It was great. I've known Tom and Mitch for years. I've known Mitch for almost 12 years now, going way back. And I've known Tom for at least 6 or 7 years now. Tom and I did a Green Lantern one-shot years ago. And I had a great time working with Tom on that. He made me like Hal Jordan more than I thought I would ever. So I'd always kept in touch with Tom, especially because he and Mitch were doing so much work together on Sheriff and Mr. Miracle. No, it's Mitch came to me a few years ago and said, "Hey, we're figuring out what we're going to do after Mr. Miracle, and we think we want you to be a part of it because I think we're going to do Adam Strange, and we want to tell the story in two time periods." No, it was great. Because it's always a great opportunity to work with friends, and I was already talking to them all day on texts and whatnot. Anyway, so
How's Tom King script? It's a full script, or it's just a plot and you gotta draw it?
No, it's full script.
Full script?
He writes. There'll be times he's one of the better writers I've worked with in terms of trusting the artist. He will sometimes write in like exactly what he wants to be happening, and then other times he'll write like leave it very open for the artist to interpret. So he kind of goes back and forth between that, at least in Strange. There were several times where he kind of let me do my thing.
You could suggest some changes, some things.
Yeah, I would take what he wrote in the script and I'd say, "Hey, what if I just did this and changed it just slightly?" Very little things, just anything that I felt would make it more visually appealing. But Tom's always been very open to collaboration.
You guys did an amazing job doing this.
I didn't
small things. You did an amazing job. We're waiting. Hopefully, it's coming out in. I think it's on April. It went out in USA, the collected edition.
Yeah.
Now it's going on December. I think it's going the trade paperback.
Yep.
So I'm eagerly waiting for
I'm
that.
hoping to read that because Kyle said to me, I love Mr. Miracle, and Mario, you love the Human Target. Now you're gonna love Adam Strange Adventures. I hope so. Yeah, of course. I am totally in for that thing. I love it. Yeah, right. So I'm going to read it because I love that kind of stories. Recently, I'm reading the Generation Shattered, Generations and everything, Fractured, everything, and it's amazing that Adam appears in there. In that So it is my first time to read something about Adam Strange. So I'm so totally into the character. It's a great character.
Oh, good. I hope you like it.
Doc,
sure.
Watching that you jump from mini series and to ongoing series, which do you prefer more, ongoing or self-contained stories where you can, I don't know, do anything?
I think it depends on the character. I had a run there where I was doing a lot of one-offs and one-shots or fill-in issues, where it was nice to just jump in for one issue of a character. It was, a character I liked, but I wouldn't want to spend a ton of time on. Like
Legion of Superheroes, for example.
Sure, yeah, something like that. Or I did Batman Beyond for one issue.
Oh,
And that was a good example of the kind of thing, like, I loved that cartoon. But I don't know that it's something I'd want to do for a long run. So to be able to jump in for that one issue was nice. But I don't know. It all depends on the character. There are characters I'd be okay with only doing once. And then there are other characters where I would like to have a much longer series with them. So
you feel comfortable. It depends. You feel more comfortable depending on the character.
Yeah, it's right. So yeah, Batman and Batman Beyond. It's okay for one issue. Supergirl, I did one issue and I had a lot of fun with that. I would actually like to return to Supergirl at some point, maybe, but I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of Supergirl, here we have some stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
oh,
I think these are the illustration for the Golden Age omnibus.
Yep. That's I did that for a few years when they were still doing new pieces for the covers.
And here you have the Doom Patrol. You had a lot of fun here.
That was another one where I only got to do the one issue of Doom Patrol, and I love the Doom Patrol. They're one of my favorites, and I would gladly do tons more Doom Patrol if they want.
You got the chance to do Mento here. It's
awesome. Yeah. That was again, that was such a strange gig, but I loved it because they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna design the new Mento suit." I said, "Okay, sure."
Have some pages.
Mm-hmm. That was a really fun job.
And we got to the big blue.
the big man of the company.
Think about this guy. I want to know what he means to you.
He's everything. I love Superman. He's my favorite. I don't want to shift too much here and lose you, but I don't know. Okay, it's not going to work. Never mind. But this whole wall over here is Superman stuff.
Oh,
it's. What is your favorite? Which is your favorite item of that Superman wall?
A few years ago at a convention, somebody brought me this huge Tim Sale Superman poster that was used in comic book shops around the time Superman for All Seasons came out. And somebody brought one of the original posters to me at a convention years ago. And so I've got that up on the wall. That's one of my favorites. I've got some little, I've got a bunch of little Superman toys and whatnot. I've got my my Darwin Cook Superman figure over there. That means a lot to me. I don't know. It's so much stuff.
Well, the one with the chest, the symbol of the chest, the black, right?
Yeah. Yep.
New
it's
Frontier.
Great. It's great look.
New Frontier.
The DC Direct Superman from New Frontier, I think is it.
Yeah. Oh. Yep.
It's one of the few that came out from Darwin Cook's and we had some stuff here doing from the Big Blue. You got the
Oh, yeah.
classic. I rather the classic than this one.
That's fair.
It's what you were talking about digital first, the adventures of Superman.
Yeah. Yep. That was my first job with DC.
And
Oh,
what do you think about this series, and how you
love
got
it.
the chance to do the variant?
That was when it was announced, when the book was announced. Robert and Wilfredo are both friends of mine, and I knew the editor on the book, and I was going on. I was talking about it so excitedly. The editor reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you do a cover for the first issue?" And I said, "Of course," because I love that movie. And I think Wilfredo drawing that book is one of the best ideas that DC's ever had. He's also a good friend, so I'm biased, but I also think he's incredible, and that's the perfect book for Wilfredo.
Kieran
you know, a few
are
days
asking
ago,
for more Superman from Doug Channel.
yeah,
Okay.
a few days ago, we are talking with Kyle about Wilfredo Torres doing drawings of Superman 78, and and remember what you tell me about Robin Williams and the other characters.
What was it? Wilfredo's drawings of Robin Williams as Mixes Pitlick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it. It's such a good idea.
amazing.
It's one of those ideas where you're like, of course. It makes
Why
so much
not?
sense. Yeah. And because I also thought that I thought Wilfredo was using, for a time, I thought he was using David Bowie for Brainiac.
Oh,
No,
And again,
Yul Brynner. You said
yeah, and he changed it to more of a Yul Brenner look. But there was a short time where I thought he was going to use David Bowie, and I still love that idea. But no, it's Wilfredo's perfect for that book because he has ideas like that. There's no way he'll ever get to actually use Robin Williams as Mixes Pitlick, but I love the idea.
speaking of Superman, here one of our subscribers are doing this question about Jonathan Kent. If you would like to do something with Jonathan Kent as a child in the future.
Yeah, I love Jonathan Kent. He's one of my favorites. And years ago when he first kind of showed up as a kid superhero, when he first kind of had his own suit and was able to fly and so forth, I was at lunch with some of the editors at DC, and they asked who I was hoping to work on, and Jonathan Kent was my number one. I still love the idea of Superman's son as a character, and Jonathan's awesome. So I would love to draw some Jonathan Kent. I think I've drawn him once for work, so hopefully more in the future.
Maybe after Challenge of the Super Sons, you got a chance with Peter.
Yeah. Peter's great. I love Peter.
Maybe we can have the chance to see Peter and Doc team up with, I don't know, Trial of the Super Sons. I don't know. I'm gonna register that title for just in case. But we would love to see that. I think it's something that would be awesome. Here's the the homage to Howard Chaykin cover, isn't it?
It was, the thing is that idea has been used so many times
Yeah.
over the years that it's hard to say just one issue that I'd be homaging. I don't even remember at the time. I think it was some old Golden Age thing, but I can't remember. I know Chaykin did it too.
It's this is from the Omnibus.
Yeah,
The Golden
yep.
Age Omnibus.
Yep.
And it's from Tales from Krypton, I think. I don't have here the.
I've got it somewhere too. I have no idea.
Let me think.
Meanwhile, I want to ask you a question about Superman, because it's so heroic that you draw that pose, you know. And you have fun to draw that kind of pose or posture or something like that.
Yeah, it's Superman is such a nice. I do have a lot of fun drawing Superman, and it's with so many of the angrier characters. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I've got that somewhere too. I think it's in my Superman box somewhere, maybe, or I don't know.
Here's the original. I got the original in the back with Howard taking the sign.
Yep.
I got the original in the back. It was that homage. It was awesome. I really like it.
Thank you.
And
yeah.
This is some of the stuff you do for fun.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know why they are not collected in an art book, for example.
Yeah.
Because we all want that sweater for Christmas.
That sweater exists. It's I didn't come up with that sweater. It's I searched for a Superman sweater on the internet, and that came up, so I used it.
It's for Christmas. It's for Christmas, right?
Yeah. It's just a Superman Christmas sweater.
We here in Argentina we can't wear that kind of stuff because it's summer.
Sure.
Sorry.
But I will wear for a picture.
Yeah.
Remove it quickly.
We put our air conditioning, so we can put
here are some of the stuff or cool stuff that you do for fun and for some omnibus. This
yep.
Flash.
Like this.
Yeah, Superboy.
It's funny. Take all my money, Mr. Sherman. I'm a huge fan of Superboy, and I really dig this look, this costume.
Yeah, me too.
And I love what you did. Was this for the book, or it was just a commission?
It was Young Justice. It was, I can't remember now which issue it was, but it was the Bendis run. And
number,
I don't. It's right in the middle of the book because Tim. Yeah, I have it here somewhere. It was Young Justice number 5.
Okay.
And Tim is slowly remembering the 90s.
Yeah.
And this is a double page splash where he remembers the team as they were in the 90s.
People are getting crazy about the sweater.
It was fun.
Awesome. Yes. And this cover, I love it. Love it. You're
Yeah.
Casey, hearing some music, and now that you spoke about your beginnings with music, it has a lot of meaning now.
Yeah, yeah. It's when I get little chances to use what whatever I know about music, it's nice.
And discover that I have here.
Hey, oh yeah, yep.
This is awesome. It's I bought it. I had number three, but I bought this
Mhm.
because of you.
Oh, thank you.
Because of
Yeah,
you.
that
Just
that was fun. I any chance I
Look at
get to
that.
draw
Look at that.
impulse, I take it because I love impulse.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I would have loved to watch more from Young Justice from you, but I don't know
That I
what.
think I don't remember exactly how the schedule lined up, but I think that's when we started working on Strange Adventures.
Okay, okay,
So it wouldn't have
Uh-huh.
worked, but I would have loved to. I love that team.
okay. And this from the
Hmm.
Oh, Hawkman.
Golden Age,
Love Gomage.
and this stuff that most people don't know, but a lot of people relate you with DC and doesn't know that you do this stuff, for example.
Oh, wow, that's from so long ago.
And it
I
looks
love
so
that Iron
awesome.
Man.
Well,
It's
thank you.
great.
I've forgotten
Look at
about.
that. Look at
Oh
the
yeah,
team.
that one
Look at
too.
the team.
Look at that cover.
I'd forgotten about a lot of these. Yep.
Oh,
Look at this. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I
We
love it.
love that
I
this.
love the Scorpion. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I liked the vaguely ski mask diabolique scorpion.
In pink here.
Hmm.
Look at this. You know, when I know that I know that you're working for DC, but when
Mhm.
uh, I heard about Spider-Man life story, the
Hmm.
one by Chip Zdarsky,
Hmm.
and I always thought that it was gonna be drawn by someone like you, with a classic style for each decade, and it was Mark Bagley's classic Spider-Man character. I wasn't disappointed, but I was like, okay, okay,
Sure.
but it would have been cool. It would have been cool to see something like this.
I mean, I would love to work with Chip at some point, and uh, I'd be all for drawing some Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man.
What's your favorite Marvel character?
The Thing,
The Thing.
Huh.
Thing. It's my favorite book is Fantastic Four, but Thing for sure.
Or here.
And Thor. Thor's the other one. Yeah, it's it's
Uh,
it's Thing and
he's
Thor.
pointing at you. He's pointing at you.
Yeah.
You forgot about me. You forgot about me. And
I
look at this.
when I look at yes, we with Kylie we said that's the ultimate Captain America, the definitive.
It's
I
so.
We love it. We love it.
thank you. It's characters like Cap. They're on that level where I like them, and it would be cool to draw them, but it's not like Thor and Thing. Those guys I really like. I really hope I get a chance to draw them at some point.
We got as I told you before, and as I told you when I present you, your art has so much heart on it, so much heart. We can tell from Superman's look, from Superman's face and poses and everything, that it brings hope. It brings hope, and
Yeah.
I love it. I really love your art, Doc, and that's why I buy this stuff. And I love. I buy it twice because I rather
It's
have it
epic.
and
Really epic.
watch it, and I would love to see Doc Shanner art book someday.
I think we're just getting to the point where there may be enough for an art book that I would be okay with it.
Maybe a Kickstarter
Yeah.
would help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have some questions here to close the interview.
Mhm.
Do you remember what was your first comic, the first comic you read? What is your favorite comic book character?
The first comic book I read, I think, was Death of Superman.
Hmm.
In fact, it might have been not just Death of Superman. I think it was the
The whole arc.
World Without a Superman
Oh,
issue. With the funeral. It was the funeral issue.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a really rough start to
No, but
superhero books.
it was very interesting because it tells the story behind all the interest people trying to do things to replace Superman, to get Superman, to get. It was totally darker,
Yeah.
but it was cool.
yeah.
It was cool. One of
It was
the
I didn't know a ton about superheroes at the time, and I remember seeing the cover with, I think it's Flash and Green Lantern, and I think Captain Marvel too, holding the casket.
yeah.
Batman.
And Batman, and as they do the funeral march. And at the time, I didn't know that they were all DC. So I was like, wait a minute, does the Flash know Superman? I had no idea. So I picked it up out of curiosity, only to read this real sad book about Superman's death.
So you start with that was the first one, the funeral, and then you go back or you go forward.
I went forward. It was for a long time I didn't read the issue where the Doomsday fight. I hadn't read it.
You should.
And it was that. I think I read that, and then it was the Clone Saga at Marvel, the Spider-Man Clone Saga.
Wow.
But for a long time, those are the only comic books I had.
Jargons +2.
yeah. A lot of Dan.
A little jargons overdose
Jargons.
in comics.
Yep.
Here, there's a question about Hanna-Barbera's. Do you all remember Hanna-Barbera's SWAT Cats?
Yes, I
Wonderful
remember SWAT Cats.
Yes, I remember SWAT Cats. SWAT Cats was awesome. I loved SWAT Cats.
They had a helicopter, right? They had a
Yeah,
helicopter.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Here's would you like to work on Flash?
Yes. He's one of my.
Which one?
When I first signed on.
That's a tricky question. That's a tricky question.
My first instinct is to say Wally, just because he was my Flash as a kid, and he's still, if I'm honest, he's still my favorite Flash. But I don't know. I like all of them to different degrees, so I'd be open to any Flash.
Did you call Tom King after what he did in Heroes in Crisis, like, Tom, what you did?
No,
What have you done?
because I knew that everybody else was. This- I'm out.
Okay.
Kyle, should I tell him the story about Flash here in Argentina?
Please tell him to close the interview.
You know, here the Flash. This is a story. This story is continue repeating because I tell the story to everything he's coming to the show.
Mhm.
The run of Mike Baron from the Flash with Wally West.
Yep.
In Argentina was published like Flashman, like Flashman.
Flush,
Why is that?
man.
Flashman.
Flush, man.
You know what? Because here in Argentina, we have a gossip magazine called Flash. So
Oh.
we can't use because of the rights and everything. So they call Flashman.
Okay, why Flushman?
I don't know.
Because it
We have
just
to talk
was
with,
better
with
than
the
Flash.
Huh. Okay.
we have the issues here. We have
Mhm.
issues about that, and it's amazing.
If I'm gonna share screen for a minute, so you can look at it.
This is not a joke. No. This is not a
It
joke.
is enlightening.
It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I can.
Yes, if
Yeah,
you touch the
there it
screen,
is.
yeah. Hey.
That's wild.
It's
We
incredible,
we
but
still have
it happened.
we still have many copies of this run with that title.
This run went through 49 issues, following the Flash from Mike Barnes,
Hmm.
and it was incredible that they use it all the time. They couldn't use the Flash, so that was what they did with this. We can use it. Well, let's use this name, and it's the only country that this run is called the Flashman.
And also that
Huh.
this is something that they publish here Justice League Europe, so they call him Flashman.
Huh.
Yeah. It
Huh.
was
Yes,
incredible. It was incredible.
That's interesting.
it's amazing.
So,
Huh.
Doc, we don't want to steal you any more time. So we're gonna say thank you for your time, for being here, for being so kind to answer all our questions,
Yeah.
and for for this awesome art, and for being our 22 guest from Protagonistas del Comic. That it's an honor for us to have uh, you comic book creators here and have the chance to pick with you.
Well, thank
And
you.
as I
I
always say,
appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
to all our artists that you can visit to us, that you are the true and real heroes of all of this, because you with your art and with your stories, you transport us to that amazing kind of stories. So thanks to you, Doc, and thanks to all the people who work in the industry. Thank you so much because you are the real heroes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
well, Doc, we're going to speak Spanish to say goodbye. gente, nada, hermosa entrevista que tuvimos con el señor Doc Shanner.
Muy buena.
Acá lo tienen. Ya saben, dejen su like, suscríbanse al canal para que podamos seguir trayendo a más protagonistas del cómic y que podamos lograr esto que es hermoso, que es poder conectar con ellos. Así que gracias y nos estamos viendo en el próximo protagonista del cómic. Bye.
Bye bye.